There's something going on in Cleveland that, honestly, looks small on the surface, but could blow up into a big deal real fast. And it's not about on-field performance. It's about money, ego, and timing. Because when you look at what's happening with Myles Garrett and stack it up against the rest of the NFL, you start to see why there's this tension that maybe hasn't fully popped off yet. Let's break it down. The Browns, officially, don't want to trade Myles Garrett. But at the same time, they tweaked his contract in a way that makes a trade easier. And that right there, that's weird. You don't mess with a superstar's deal like that unless there's at least some kind of strategic angle behind it. Now add the recent context. Jim Schwartz is out, and that was a guy Garrett really rocked with. Todd Monken is in, still building chemistry with the locker room. Garrett skipping the start of voluntary workouts. None of that alone is a red flag. But put it all together, yeah, it starts to feel a little shaky. And then comes the part that really flips the script. Will Anderson's deal. 3 years, $150 million, $50 mil a year. Now look at Garrett, 40. And here's where it gets real. This ain't just numbers. It's about market status. It's about respect. Because Myles Garrett ain't just another pass rusher. He's one of the baddest dudes in the league right now. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Record-breaking sack machine. Straight-up Hall of Fame caliber. So he looks around. TJ Watt getting paid more. Micah Parsons getting paid more. Now, Will Anderson sitting on top. And where's he at? $10 million below the top. In the NFL, that hits different because contracts aren't just paychecks. They're statements. And right now, the message is, you ain't the standard, and that's where the noise starts. Now let's flip it to the Browns side. This team ain't in a full rebuild, but they're not a locked-in contender either. There's pressure inside that building to compete, now. And Garrett is the heartbeat of that. Without him, that defense loses its edge, loses that QB pressure, loses that instant impact. But here's the dilemma. You pay him or you move him. Because doing nothing, that's not going to fly for long. If they pay him, they've got to rework an already heavy contract. That hits the cap, hits roster depth, hits future deals. So nah, it's not just cut the check, it's reshaping the whole roster. If they trade him, that's even crazier. You're giving up your best defensive player, but in return, picks, young talent, flexibility. Still, that flips the whole timeline of the team. And don't forget, this didn't come out of nowhere. Garrett's been side-eyeing the direction of this team for a minute. He's questioned it. He's hinted at wanting out. So this ain't just about money. It's about belief in the project. Now let's talk real impact. If this turns into a deal, that Browns defense loses its anchor. No debate. That whole scheme is built around him wrecking plays. Without Garrett, you're basically starting over. And that takes time. If he stays and gets paid, you keep the defense elite. But now you set a financial tone. Other guys in that locker room, they're watching. And then there's Monken. New coach, new system. First real interaction with your superstar, and there's already tension in the air. That's not how you want to kick things off. Coach-player relationships need alignment from jump. This starts with question marks. Now here's my straight-up read. I don't think trading Garrett is plan A for Cleveland, but I also don't think it's as far-fetched as they want fans to believe. You don't just accidentally adjust a contract line. You don't let that kind of info leak for no reason. This feels like leverage, pressure, maybe from Garrett's camp, maybe from the Browns, maybe both. So here are the scenarios. Best case, the Browns pay the man, restructure the deal, show him he's the guy, keep that defense nasty. Middle ground, this drags out. Locker room vibe gets weird, but nothing explodes. They push it into the season. Worst case, things get ugly, talks break down, and a trade becomes real. And if it gets there, the whole league's lining up. Every team wants a pass rusher like that, no question. Now let me shoot it to you straight, dog pound. If I'm the Browns, I pay him. You don't replace a dude like Myles Garrett. You can rebuild, but you don't replicate that kind of dominance. But if I'm Garrett, I'm looking at the market like, why ain't I at the top? So here's the real question. Is this just contract talk or the beginning of the end? I want to hear from you. If it's your call, you paying Garrett to keep that defense elite or cashing in now and reloading with more pieces? Because that choice, low-key, decides the future of the Browns.